had a visitor the other day, my wife and I. It was a Sunday and we were all alone at home. No cooks, no maids. It's an arrangement we like. Gives us one day in the week when there's no one else in the house but us. You know how it is. A little space to ourselves. Suddenly the doorbell rings. I answer it. And there's a woman standing there, looking so gorgeous that she literally drains light from the sky. Front, back, sideways. She's wearing a slinky black outfit that shimmers in this gale force wind that's blowing in around her, and I can hear the Sunday newspapers thrashing about behind me in the room while I stand there with my tongue wrapped around my ankles. And then she says, "May I come in?" And the next moment she's inside, and I don't remember whether I stepped aside or whether she just walked through me. "Ah, thank you," she says. Excuse me, do I know you?" She flashes a blinding smile at me and she says, "You do now." My wife appears. She's wearing her Sunday kaftan and her face is one big question mark. The mystery woman looks at my wife and says, "Hello! So pleased to meet you. It's a great day to be alive, isn't it?" My wife and I exchange glances. Do we know you?" "That's okay. You don't recognize me, right?" "Hardly anyone does these days. But," she says, "the important point here isn't who I am. It's who you are and who you want to be today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your lives." And I can hear my heart hammering. And with every pore of my skin, I know that there's something wrong with this woman. I open my mouth to speak, but she body slams me with a glance and says, You're going to ask me to leave, aren't you? And you don't even know why." I'll tell you why. Because I can look into your head and I can see that you are scared. Scared to confront your own deeper self. Scared of your fears, scared of your dreams. I raise my hand and I'm not sure why I do that. I say, "Look, miss, I don't know who you are or whatever it is that you're selling. We don't want it, okay? It's a Sunday and we like to be alone on Sundays." "Alone? Of course you want to be alone." "Yes, that's what I'm here to help you do. Make that loneliness possible for you." "Yes, I can make it happen. If that's what you want. If that's what you really want." And my wife says, "Who is this?" And she says, "Thanks for asking, sweetie. I go by many names." "Listen," says my wife, "I don't care. My husband's asked you to leave, so I think you should leave." "Oh, that, my dears, don't you understand? The time for those kind of choices is over. But there are other choices at your disposal, but we haven't got around to talking about them yet, have we?" "No, we haven't." And then she looks at me and she says, "Your lives are going to change more fundamentally than you ever imagined possible, and all you're thinking right now is whether or not you're going to have to call the police." I say, "Yeah, whatever, just go. Please go." No, I won't. I'm here for a purpose, and I'm going to stay till I'm done with it." And my wife's got her cell phone out, but the mystery woman whips it out of her hands. She's that quick, like a flash. No phone calls either. "Okay?" "Not till I say, okay." "Okay," says my wife. "What do you mean, okay? We are in our own home and you are the intruder." "Oh, the universe, my dearie, is a dangerous place." "Yes, believe me, I should know." And then she looks at me, straight into my eye, and I can feel the blood drain out of me like water draining out of a bathtub, with a ghastly gurgling sound that only I can hear inside my head. I've looked into the woman's eyes, and for the first time I notice that instead of pupils, she's got the whole universe in there. The starry blackness of deep space, complete with nebulae and spiral galaxies, everything inside her eyes. I try to look away, but I can't. That's right, she says. "I may look human, but I'm not. I go by many names, but I'll spare you the list. For the moment, let's just say my name's Bonnie. And I'm here today to offer you a very special, once-in-a-lifetime free wish. One free wish. Hey, what? Says my wife, but I interrupt her. I tell her to look into the woman's eyes. But I've got to hand it to my wife. Without any doubts or denial, she's straight into the attack. Look, I don't care who you are or where you've come from. I've never been a believer in hocus pocus, and I'm not going to start right now. So you take your wishes and leave the house this minute, or I'm... My wife's looked into her eyes, and she's smart enough to realize there's no point in threatening a supernatural visitor. Excellent! Excellent, she says. You've both seen reason, and so quickly too. I like that. Well, you can't get rid of me, so we might as well play this game by my rules, right? And then she pauses and looks at me into my eye and she says, you there, you. You've always wanted to do something for this world, haven't you? You've always believed you knew what the solution to this world's problems was? Well, here's your chance. I have an offer to make to you. A wonderful, super deluxe, magical offer. It's right up your alley. It's what you've always talked about. I say, meaning what? Don't talk to her, says my wife. Tell her to stuff her filthy free wishes up a neutron star and leave us alone. But I shush her. The fact is that I'm curious now. You see, over the years, I've had a couple of ideas about how to improve this life and this sorry little planet that we live on. Well, actually, it's just one idea. Just one. And it's nothing profound or complicated. No. It's something that all of us have thought about at some time or another, but we wouldn't want to talk about it out loud. No. Oh, Bonnie knows, of course. That's right, she says. It's a common idea. Many people try it out in their heads, some people try it out in reality, but they are only human and they fail miserably. And her eyes are digging into mine, like twin depth charges delving down into the most hidden and buried reaches of my being. Come on, admit it. Admit it, you know what I'm talking about. Not a clue. Not a clue, I say. Pure moonshine and psychobabble. Liar. Liar, she says. All right, if you're going to be so coy, I'll spell it out for you. You believe, yes, you believe that this world would be a better place if a couple of billion people were to vanish from it. Am I right? Come on, admit it. Am I right? Of course I'm right. Well, I can help you make it happen. There's sweat trickling down the middle of my back. I say, meaning what? And she says, I am the ultimate people remover. I can clear out whole cities and continents just like that. But for today's special offer, I can do it with a minimum of pain and horror. Your victims won't even suffer a moment's premonition or anxiety. One moment they're here, and the next moment they're gone. Deceased, dematerialized. No mortal remains to clear up or dispose of. No funeral parlors, no mass graves. So, what do you think? No mess, no fuss, nothing. What do you think? And as I'm thinking, suddenly out of thin air, she plucks this smooth, round, pink button and places it before me. Pink button. She points to the pink button and says, this is how you'll do it. Think of a number and press the button, and immediately that number of people will cease to exist. Well, not immediately, but close enough. I'll stop time for you so you can do it calmly and without stress. And my wife's pulling at my t-shirt, my mind's buzzing with static, and there's this pink button in front of me. I admit, I am tempted. I am tempted. Overpopulation is the scourge of our times. There are too many people. We need to remove people. Yes, I know it's not a pleasant thought. Yes. But hey, you want omelets, you've got to break eggs. And this is a simple, ordinary, everyday fact, and I'm the kind of guy who's willing to face it. Overpopulation is the scourge of our times. Everywhere you see there are clinging little hands, hungry little mouths, an ever-increasing tide of tiny crawling bodies with not enough air, land or water to keep them alive when they grow up. Every time you switch on the TV, there's at least one shot of a starving mother turning her hollow cheeks towards you, daring you to change the channel on her. Of course you do it. You do it. I do it. I change the channel on starving mothers all the time. But as I'm changing the channel, as I'm clicking away, I'm also thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if we could change this channel forever? Forever. There are names for people that think like me. Monster, terrorist, mass murderer, arch-villain of the species, the worst of the worst. But look at me. Look at me. I'm not a bad guy. No, I don't hate people. No. I don't want anyone to suffer. But chiefly, I don't want me to suffer. I don't want my wife to turn into that starving mother on TV. I don't want my children to appear on the 9 o'clock news covered in flies and blood. I want my children and their children and everyone I love and care about and all their children to live happily forever and ever. At the same time, I know it's not possible. There's not enough space, there's not enough time, and there's too many people. So what's a man to do? What's a man to do? Under typical circumstances, nothing. Nothing. Send a few contributions to charity and click away, change the channel until there's a knock on the door, I'm offered a button to press and a choice to make. A choice that will make this world a safer and better place for me, my children, everyone I love and care about, and all the children yet to come. What do I do? What do I do? What would any thinking person do? I turn to Bonnie and I say, Bonnie, no suffering, are you sure? What about all the grieving relatives I'll leave behind? Look, if I'm going to do this thing at all, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to eliminate 3.5 billion people, half the world's human population, whatever it is, whatever it takes. And I will be impartial, yes. Rich, poor, healthy, sick, men, women. Oh, my chopping board will accommodate all without any distinctions of caste, creed, or color. Believe me, she says. And you know what? It's easy to believe someone who's got the entire universe stashed away inside her skull. Believe me, they just blink out of the record as neatly and completely as if they'd never existed. There'll be no inquiries, no retribution, no consequences. And my wife's pulling my t-shirt and she's wailing at me. Are you crazy? There's got to be consequences. Do you realize what's in it for her? Hey, deeds like these never come free. My wife and I are not religious. We don't go to churches or temples or mosques. We don't believe in immortal souls or before lives or afterlives. Yet, I know exactly what she's thinking. The only time we've come across deals like these has been in books and stories. And in those books and stories, the person handing out the registration forms is called the devil. The devil. Sharp as a pin, Bonnie turns to my wife and says, Sweetie, ordinarily, you'd be right to be concerned. Yes, but this time, as it happens, this is a genuine, no-strings policy. Yes, earlier, souls are lost, reputations are ruined, operas get written. But this time, it's clean, no fine print. And my wife's voice is low and she's very frightened. And she asks her again, who are you? What is your name? But the time for answers is over. I turn to Bonnie and I say, look, I'm going to accept your offer. Actually, you knew this all along, right? So this silly charade of me making a choice was just that, a charade. So let's get on with it. You say I have to name a number. All right. Very good, very good. She says, listen up, listen up. But don't worry. I can always repeat myself. If at any time you feel any doubts, if you feel you don't know what's happening, you can stop and ask me any questions you want. And I will explain it as slowly and patiently as you might need. Alright? Here's how it works. You decide how many people you want to remove. Or you can specify. Men, women, age, ability, specific human communities, religious groups, racial types, anything. Just say out loud what your choice is. Once you're ready to begin, press the button. The moment you press the button, a face will appear before you. That of a victim. If you press the button again, immediately that person will dematerialize, gone. And the face of the next victim will appear, and that will go on and on and on. Remember, time is no longer an issue. You will not feel any loss of attention or fatigue, nothing. Each successive victim will seem as fresh as the very first one until you've eliminated everyone and the number that you set out to eliminate. After that, you'll be returned to normal time without any ill effects or the need for counseling. The only rule is that once you terminate someone, he or she can't be brought back to life. What's dead is dead. My wife's pleading fades into the background. I turn to face the button and I say, I'm ready to begin. I'm ready to begin. I turn to face the button and I say, I'm ready to begin. Bonnie nods and says, press the button. The moment I do that, a face appears before me. It's a woman's face, a young woman about 17. Her face is blown up huge so that I can see every pore of her warm brown skin, every eyelash, every grain of her white dark eyes. Oh. I can hear her thoughts. Yes, I can hear her thoughts. No, more than that. My mind is merged with hers. So yes, she is 17. She's on the brink of college. She's got a boyfriend whom she loves and another one whom she merely flirts with. Well, you get the picture. All her thoughts, memories, ideas, hurts and wants and emotions, everything is made known to me in a single instant. Meanwhile, I retain awareness of my own thoughts and memories. I mean, frankly, I can't just cancel out this young person's existence. No, come on, Bonnie, she's a girl, she's cute, she's young. I mean, she doesn't fit the profile. Bonnie says, what's the matter? So I say that for my first victim, I'd like a more generic person. Bonnie says, there are no generic people. Every person is specific. But that's okay. If you have an idea in your mind about a generic person, this is the time to spell it out. Go ahead. No one's going to make you eat your own words. Go on. Tell us what you have in your mind. All right. Here goes. For my first victim, I'd like a male. Someone middle-aged. A little bit like me. But not Indian. No, not Indian. I don't want any of my friends or relatives to show up. But Asian. Any kind of Asian. Well, all right. Let's just say middle-aged, brown-skinned, medium height. Press the button, says Bhavan. And I press the button. Immediately a face appears before me. Vaguely Middle Eastern. As before, his eyes are blown up huge so that when I look into his eyes, my mind merges with his. Meanwhile, I retain awareness of my own thoughts and memories. I mean, I realize that he has a wife, 3 children, and an ailing mother. I know every detail of his life. What takes my breath away is that the ordinariness of this life, his life, is simultaneously the most extraordinary thing about it. The details are different, but give or take a few sisters or nephews-in-law or cousins, he could be me. No, he is me except that he's a stranger whom I'll never meet. I feel a disturbance deep within me. I don't want this man to die. No, Bonnie, not him. I mean, he's healthy, he's happy, he's in the midstream of his life. He's just an ordinary guy. Bonnie says, take your time. Remember, you are living outside of time. You're not going to age or lose points or anything. Let me help you. Maybe Maybe the trick lies in being more specific. Be specific. Go ahead. Don't be afraid. Hey, you're trying to save the world after all. Go ahead. Go ahead. Think of a person you would like to cancel out of existence. Maybe I haven't got the hang of this as yet. Okay, whom I would like to cancel out of existence? One of these punks, these lowlife, the drug peddler and a pimp, one of those types, and I press the button. Immediately, a face appears before me. A young man. Slanted eyes, thick eyebrows. His head is shaven, and across his left cheek, he's got a tattoo. That of a scorpion. Ooh. For a moment, I'm disgusted by this lowlife drug peddler. But the moment arrives, and his mind merges with mine. Fear is his constant companion, and it becomes mine too. Hunger gnaws at his gut and at mine too. I can feel his pain of frequent failures, his exhilaration of defeating a street rival, the sweetness of a honeydew melon that he felt. All these and more pass into my possession. Meanwhile, I retain awareness of my own thoughts and memories. Yes. Yes. Yes, I raped my sister. I did. As a result of which she became a foul-mouthed slut and ran away from home and died before her 12th birthday. But my brother, he's a saint. He's the family's breadwinner. Works as a shop assistant by day and runs a roadside stall at night. I love my brother. Hey, the punk feels love. Can you imagine? This punk feels love. Yes. Yes, I love my brother. And I dream one day of being like him. Legitimate and clean, a pillar of society. One day. My father left us all and vanished years ago. My mother is dying of cancer and there's no one else to take care of her except me. I gotta go now. Those drugs. Every morning and evening, before going out to deal his drugs, this punk, this young man, washes his mother with his bare hands and lights candles for her in the church. I look at his face. His face is peach brown and hairless. It's taut and fresh. It's so taut and fresh, it's almost edible. I mean, his life so far has been, and it still is brutish, but it's unbearably tragic. I mean, he's just 16, and it's not his turn to die. Bonnie says, I think you should turn to random selection, all right? Try random selection, all right. So for the moment, I try random selection. I just press the button, and I get sweet-faced nurses, blue-eyed grandmothers, ancient Botswana farmers tilling their fields under the blazing sun. I turn to Bonnie and I say, I can't go on like this. I can't manage with this kind of selection. I need to find someone whom I wouldn't mind dispatching. Yes, whom I wouldn't mind dispatching, right? Bonnie smiles and says, keep trying, keep trying. Whom I wouldn't mind dispatching. Who is it? Certified bad guys. Certified bad guys, gun runners, mobsters, carjackers, a torturer. Now he deserves to die. A cold-blooded torturer. And I press the button and immediately a face appears before me. Vaguely East European. When I look into his eyes, pain convulses me like a dozen tidal waves at once. This pain, have you ever felt it? This pain of ultimate horror? I have felt it. Of degradation, of self-hate. This torment of being despicable on command. I have felt it. The torment of tearing out nails for a living. of clinging to tiny shreds of decency, then losing them out to the stench of body screams, fluids, and curses. Day after day, every day I live in this den of suffering, my den of suffering. Clutching my child's picture at my heart, savoring memories, that of a golden summer, the taste of my wife's cooking, and the sound of a mandolin. Hey, you would think it would be impossible to sympathize with a torturer, but no, it makes no difference. I'm angry with myself, I curse my sentimentality. Here I am trying to save the world, and I find myself sympathizing with this worthless scum. So what do? I go lower down the social scale. Lower down the social scale, I trawl the depths of humanity, and I come up with a sociopath. A man who works as a hired assassin and kills for pleasure. He deserves to die. I press the button and immediately I get the face of an angel. A sociopath with a face of an angel and an inner life so heady, it's like a multicolored carnival. He is a human firework, forever glorious, forever bursting. This sociopath, yes, yes, I have no moral compass. I feel no pain or remorse or sympathy for anyone. No, but oh, that serene feeling that only I know. I kill, I perform like an artist, with a clarity and even a certain crazed kindliness. I believe I am the angel of death doing God's work. Yes. I believe I am more sympathetic than your surgeon who uses the scalpel to prolong the lives of those too ill to protect themselves. Unlike your cancer or your old age, the death I provide is quick and painless. And I smile in my sleep. I don't understand him. Who is this man? I can't press the button. I cannot press the button. Who is he? So I ask for a drug-crazed whore. Yes, hoping to find someone so degenerate that I'll be able to kill her as a favor to her. I ask that she be so grotesquely ugly that my task is not compromised by pity. Look at me. Look at me. I'm growing desperate. I want so much to begin my purge of humanity. So much. I press the button and immediately she appears, bald, pockmarked, covered with tattoos, infested with every venereal disease ever known to humankind. For a moment my hand hovers over the button, ready to plunge, but then this mind merging happens. This mind merges, and I see. I live only for my daughter, a sweet-faced 10-year-old innocent girl who lives with my neighbor and goes to school every day and thinks that her mother, her mother died in childbirth. Yes, I walk the streets at night. I paint my face, I wear my wigs, I turn in 20 tricks at night. I'm routinely locked up and raped by policemen every night, only so that by day I can watch my little one playing in the park on a swing. My little one. I pass. I ask for a serial rapist. A serial rapist? Someone who destroys the lives of women remorselessly. A dirty animal, a dirty being. I ask for a serial rapist so that I can dispatch him and feel righteous about it. That's right. I press the button, and sure enough, yes, I'm mean, hungry animal. Always keen, always frantic, always searching. That's me. Hungry. I live on this knife's edge of extreme desire. That's me. Serial rapist. My fires are lit by another person's screams. My fires are lit by another person's screams. So you think I'm despicable? You think I'm despicable, don't you? Yes, you think I'm despicable. As despicable as anyone who places his comfort ahead of someone else's. Serial rapist. Like him. Like his desire for omelets ahead of someone else's eggs. Serial rapist. Like the imperialist. Yes, like the imperialist who steals another country so that his country can get rich. Serial rapist. Like the mother who starves her daughter so that her son can eat. Serial rapist. Like the religious leader who burns down churches and temples and mosques so that his church or temple or mosque can be built. Serial rapist. Like me. Like me. Like me for placing my idea for a better life ahead of the lives of 3.5 billion others. Serial rapist. So yes, I crawl away from this serial rapist, appalled and humbled. And so it is. So it is with every type of person I pull up, good or bad. The moment I can look into their eyes, breathe their breath, think their thoughts, I cannot pull the plug on their lives. No, I cannot. Carjackers, child molesters, sex traffickers, oh, it makes no difference. Once I'm inside their head, the heat of their lives. The heat of their lives is like a volcano of sensation. And so it is even for the brain dead, the mentally deficient, the depraved, the suicidal. Like the anorexic girl who eats half an apple a month and looks like the walking dead, but lives only for that one moment when someone will nourish her with love, not food. Like the autistic boy. Like the autistic boy who lives in this world of beautiful abstractions, marred by the continuous distraction of those whom we call normal. Like the lady with the Alzheimer's, so deficient in brain activity that all she could produce when I encountered her was this sad but simple twittering. Well, I am. Did you hear this? This hypnotic song. I am. Say it in your head. I am. For all of us, this hypnotic song. The force of life within each living being is like a torrent, a tornado, a furnace that burns so crisp, so fiercely that I am cooked to a crisp from the very first moment of contact. I'm dazzled. I'm undone. It's not that I feel sorry for each and every person I encounter. It's just that I realize, in a way that I have never understood before, this terrifying sweetness of being alive. Alive. For kings and lepers, saints and fiends, it makes no difference. The sweetness is the same. And that's terrifying, isn't it? That's terrifying, isn't it? To know that every single breath is more precious to the mouth to which it belongs than 1,000 mountains made of gold. That for all our colors and convictions, vanities and ideals, we are all threaded along by a single strand of air, breath, life. like beads along a necklace that is 7 billion people long. Yes, a necklace that is 7 billion people long, and I could not snip a single bead away from it without destroying the entire necklace. Not a single bead. You would think I would grow desensitized or jaded or bored, but no, no, no. As Bonnie told me right from the start, I'm living outside of time. I don't feel any sensory overload or fatigue or nothing. Every person is the first person. Every story is the best story. Every life is unique. I feel a little angry with myself. If only I had faceless, anonymous numbers to deal with. So I turned to Bonnie and I said, Bonnie, please, can I just state my number and press the button? That way I will succeed in my mission, which is for everyone's benefit. But Bonnie just shakes her head and says something that I already know right from the start. There's only one way you'll do it, and that's my way. I persevere. I don't give up. I persevere through hundreds of would-be victims, but I cannot pull the button. I turn to her in defeat and I say, Bonnie, please, I want to end this stupid experiment, this booby-trapped wish. Without detachment, how can I perform? And I'm feeling sad, and I don't know whether I'm feeling sad for myself or for this planet or for all the stories of these individuals, these stories that left me raw. This cruel travesty of a wish, offering me a chance to save the world, at the same time showing me that I'm so weak and so sentimental that I could not kill even a single person, leave alone 3.5 billion people. Who is this Bonnie? I find myself desperately wanting to know. My wife stuck her arm into mine. I don't know what she's understood of my experience, but I suspect she saw whatever I saw. And Bonnie asks me if I'm sure I want to stop. Yes, Bonnie, I am. I am. And then we return to normal time. And the newspapers which were silent all this time begin to flap and flutter in this breeze caused by Bonnie's presence. I turn to Bonnie and I ask her point blank, look, Bonnie, I need to understand this. Are you the devil or are you God? I realize as I ask this question that this question belonged to the moral science classrooms of my childhood. I didn't expect to need it in my adult life. I feel embarrassed asking this. But Bonnie just shrugs and says, neither and both. Whichever name you give me, it's not my true name. So I say, okay, Bonnie, what happens next? Where do we go from here? Here I was thinking about our little planet, about my inability to do anything, about all the hungry mothers, the dying children. What happens next? And Bonnie says, you tell me. You tell me. And her voice is fading fast. I can see the ends of her hair wisping out. The breeze that brought her in is now beginning to blow in the opposite direction. You tell me. I'm always listening. I can show you the water, but I can't make you drink it. And my wife says, excuse me, may I ask you a question? I'd like to know why you chose us, I mean him, my husband. Is there a reason? You had 7 billion people to choose from, so why him? And Bonnie says, why not? Yes, me. Why not?